This is a TikTok sort of like challenge that was going around. Check this out.
This hanger thing that it makes your head move.
Wait. Makes
Yes.
your head move.
Yes. Now.
When you put it on, it just makes your head turn.
Yeah, dude. We're each going to do this, okay? You gotta put the hanger on.
I
swear?
Well, obviously.
Do you guys, are you guys cool if we start this week off with a little bit of listener mail?
Sure.
Always.
So this came in through our DMs. I'm not going to say their name because they just didn't give me consent. And also, I don't know, maybe they don't want this fucking blasted out to the world with their name. But I will leave their address and their phone number. So if you have anything to say, you can just reach out to them.
Okay.
So this is from M. It's not their full name.
Yeah, I was like, well, you gave a pretty good clue for the first name.
And then when you give the address, it's going to be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So M said, hey, I was just listening to your episode about IUDs, which I believe was a Feel Good Friday episode we did about that IUD baby. Remember the baby that came out and was like using the IUD as like Conan's sword?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I wanted to share my IUD anecdotes with you. I am an IUD baby. My mom got pregnant with me at 39 with an IUD in place. They removed the IUD, which apparently usually causes a miscarriage, but I held on. 25 years later, I had an IUD.
Huh.
Unknown to me, it had been partially expelled, and the plastic end sliced open my partner's phallus. It was an absolute bloodbath.
She used the word phallus.
She did, yeah.
That's an interesting choice of word.
Good use of the word. And
What part of is the phallus a specific part of the penis or
No,
just the whole penis?
the whole penis
Yeah.
itself.
I think the phallus is like the general shape.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's phallic, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
The phallic shape of a penis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Which all airports, I don't know if you know this, but all airports there's like a conspiracy about how all airports have come together to propagate satanic phallic shapes in all the imagery of all the airports.
specifically
North
the
America.
Denver airport.
Right.
Wait,
Phallus,
from like top down, like satellite
But
view?
just look into it.
do your own research, dude. A phallus is a penis, especially when erect. So there you go.
Okay.
That's from
There you
Wikipedia.
Must have been the frenulum though to hit that and like
Could have
make-
been. I mean, look, I've stabbed an IUD, and it could have been the side of his head. It could have been
Ooh.
hooked into his urethra.
fuck.
But
Oh,
think
Jesus.
of like just the fact that it was a bloodbath. Like I'm assuming that it wasn't like a paper cut. It
Could have
wasn't
been.
like
you know
a
what?
poke.
You know what it could have been. It could have been similar to like when I had my nipple ring in, and I got out of a glass shower, and the glass shower door, the edge of it hooked into my nipple ring, and then tore and ripped the nipple ring halfway out. So what I'm thinking is maybe this guy was uncircumcised, had his like phallus in her, and was just kind of resting in there, kind of like soaking. And then
Just bathing.
and so his foreskin wasn't peeled back. It's sort of like
So
snugged back up, and then hooked the thing. And when he pulled out, tore his foreskin by 2 centimeters, like a little rip.
the way that you just talked about foreskin is definitely the way that women feel like when we try to talk about vaginas.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
'cause-
you don't have one, so you don't know.
Yeah, they're going. They're going.
Yeah,
Nah.
yeah. Well, that's
Nah.
that's probably true because I don't know what it is like to have foreskin. M goes on to say, it makes me wonder if there is a genetic connection / shared anatomical reason that IUDs didn't work for us.
Well, you've come to the right place for the answer.
I know they say the chances of something like that happening with IUDs is a very small percentage, but I wonder about the accuracy of the reporting system. Of course, I told my doctor, but they just said, interesting, and took it out. I don't believe any official reporting was done. So there you go. Thanks, Em. Thanks for sharing your IUD woes with us, and hope you are doing good and finding alternative ways to protect yourself against children that you may not necessarily want.
I understand that there's many reasons why different forms of contraception make sense for different people. And an IUD in from the perspective of a person who doesn't need to put it in sounds pretty great especially in relation to like the hormonal thing, like where you can bypass the hormonal changes that take effect when you're using like a birth control pill, for example. And
Right.
obviously we had just had a kid, and Kyla might be using contraception in the future. So I'm like, well, I feel like an IUD makes the most sense. Like,
why don't you just get a vasectomy?
Because
Because it is reversible.
it is reversible, but it's not 100% reversible.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, how many kids do you really want? Dude, the fucking planet's gonna be.
No, okay. Well, this isn't the point. The point is,
All right.
the point is that Kyla's like, no, I really don't want an IUD, because I've been like, but maybe an IUD is a good choice. And she said she really doesn't want one. And I'm like, I'm going, man, you never really hear of a story where somebody got their dick caught on a birth control pill.
Nope.
You never hear that. Do you?
No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah. So that's a good argument for the birth control pill. But I actually
But
answered.
you do hear about people with the birth control pill that like. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say like suicidal thoughts, but maybe I just made that up. It can do some fucking. It can do some fucking fuckery.
I think that I remember seeing like there was a Vox did like a whole explain series on sex.
Yeah.
And one of them was on a birth control pill and like the history of the birth control pill.
Yeah.
And I believe that there was
Something
like
like
a
that.
fucky birth control, like the early birth control pill was fucky with suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
I answered a survey question the other day that was, if you could take male contraceptive in the form of a pill, would you? And it was interesting because like my first answer was like, obviously I would be willing to take that.
Non-hormonal in a second.
Yeah. And so, but then I was like forced to really consider it when I was like answering the question, because I don't know, when you think about it and you're actually like pressing yes to it, it was part of a study. So I was like, would I really do it? I want to give like an honest answer. And I thought about it and I chose yes, but it was a little bit less of a like obvious yes than the first time when I was like, of course I would take that.
Sure, yeah.
And there wasn't any context of whether it was hormonal or non-hormonal, but the reality is that the female one is hormonal. So,
but there are options that are not as well.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Like IUDs.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but not pills though, right?
I don't believe so, but I'm not sure. But
Okay.
I think that's correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe like sugar pills, like
if you don't
like
have enough sugar,
placebo.
if you have enough sugar, you can't.
Like
if you have-
placebo contraception, yeah.
No.
It's probably at least 15% effective.
I don't know. I'm a theater school dropout.
we should have somebody to talk about the history of birth control pills on the
I know
podcast.
just the
That's
person.
actually a really great
I
conversation.
know just the person, and I'll get him on the show.
I was because I've been going to the doctor a lot lately, my family doctor, because of I have a small human at home now, and there's a chart in the office, and it's a contraceptive chart, and it like outlines all of the like different types of contraception and like how effective they are, and it says like births per 100 times you have sex or something like
Too
that.
many numbers. I'm already lost.
And
Do they have the pull-up method on there?
yes, they do.
Well, it's not. It's not actually. I mean, yeah.
No, it's called pulling. On the chart, it says pulling out.
Yeah, there's a different method though, and the person who I actually was thinking about having on, I'm serious about this. So she wrote a book called The Fifth Vital Sign, and it's all about the like tracking your follicular phases. I believe that's the word. We had her on Turn Me On, and it was fucking fascinating. And pulling out is a part of this this method, and it's one of the things that like
Dude, in
just
Europe,
isn't
it's
taught.
Super.
It's not taught in schools. It's not like, and she wrote. One of the best Turn Me On episodes we've ever done.
Well,
and Bridie actually does it. Bridie does the follicular method or whatever it's called. The fifth vital sign. Is the name
when
of
we
the
were
book.
when we were going through IVF and not pre-IVF, when we were still trying to have a baby by getting down, and we were Kyla was telling me about how this just how much of it's actually crazy how many accidental pregnancies there are.
Yeah.
Because you have to have sex in a very specific window.
Yeah.
Like it's not just have sex any day of the month and that's that.
Yeah.
Like it's Like there's like a period of time, and then within that period of time, there's like a smaller period
Yeah.
of time that's like the right
like-
It's
time.
like the
But, like-
ovulation nation.
Yeah,
So,
but like, just think about the amount of sex you have.
There's
you
a
know?
there's a lot of sex, but Kai was telling me that in Europe, and I think specifically in France, it was like like a significant portion of the population was just tracking their cycle, and they
Yeah.
just don't have sex 1 week of the month, and
Oh,
that's just that.
You know those French. They love a good
Love
fucking.
to fuck, so they're fucking like crazy, like 3.5 weeks.
Is
They're-
that super?
they're-
Is
they're-
that like
they're-
super effective?
Yeah, 'cause you-
it is.
'cause you
Yeah, well, like
can't have
this
you
follicular.
can't-
I believe it's called the follicular method. I'm a fucking idiot.
if you've got your cycle down pat, Kyla's cycle was always kind of weird. Like it was never always the same. But a lot of people have it where it's like clockwork. And if you have your cycle down like clockwork, I mean, you can basically say there's going to be 4 days where I will not have sex for sure, or maybe 5 or 6 days where I just will not have sex in this window. Like X amount of days before this date, X amount of days after this date, and you will like 99%.
Maddie's pretty dialed in. Like her Garmin tracks her cycle.
it's
really?
the
Yeah.
fertility method. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Follicular, I mean, the word sounds right.
That, I know. I
you
was
got a
just
whole
trying.
bunch of-
Sounds smart.
You got follicles in your ovaries, and
Yeah.
they push out eggs.
I was just trying to sound smart. Well, again, thank you, Em. That was really. We love getting letters from y'all. So keep that shit up. Love reading that stuff. Love hearing your anecdotes and your stories about your own personal health woes. Listen, I got something that I want to show you guys that I I think is it really fucking tripped me out when I came across this week. And I want to do it with you guys, but I kind of want to I'm not sure what the best way of going about it is. So I have this coat hanger here, or this clothes hanger. And
You learn a magic trick?
he kind of. So have you guys ever heard of the hanger reflex? I'm guessing if anyone, you have, because it's a very big TikTok thing.
I don't use TikTok.
Dude, shut the fuck up.
Fuck up. You never just stop talking about it. You're always fucking on it. All right. So this like became a TikTok trend. And I tried it and it fucking really made me feel weird. Okay. So here, you know what? I'll show you the video first.
So
And
Brian's
then-
just gonna pretend like he doesn't know the whole time.
Yeah. And then we'll go into it. Okay. So
Okay.
so this is a
I have no idea what you're talking about.
this
Right. Yeah.
this is a
Hey, bro.
this is a TikTok sort of like challenge that was going around. I think like sometime in September of 2020. Okay. So here, check this out.
I have heard about this hanger thing that it makes your head move.
Okay. So
Wait.
Uh-oh.
Makes
Yes.
your head move.
yes. Now,
Wait,
When-
when you put it on, it just makes your head turn.
yeah, dude, involuntarily. Okay. So when we're each going to do this. Okay. And I want you to approach this. My first initial thought
Trying to
was,
hypnotize us.
my first initial thought was to not show you that first, and was to just get you to put the hanger on your head without anything and not say anything and see
Yeah.
what happened. But I feel like it's better that you know what we're going into. And when we go to do it, I don't want you to don't resist it. Don't push it away. Kind of like hypnotism, but also don't force anything. Literally just feel what it feels like to put the hanger on your head and see if it makes you, in the very least, have the urge to move your head, or like just a reflex, like your knee getting hit and your leg bopping up. Like you actually have the reflex to just do it. Okay. So I'm going to do it. And I'll show you. Okay. And then
Yeah.
we're each going to do it. Okay.
You've obviously already done.
I've tried this like 10
This
times.
is like when somebody uses a Ouija board and they're like,
Yeah.
look, I swear
Okay. Here we go. Put the hanger on.
it's moving on its own.
Dude, I swear to
Okay, well,
God.
obviously we
okay?
all
here,
tried it.
Yeah, you try.
Obviously.
You try.
Taylor, you go first.
Okay.
Okay. Because you know that.
You're the most skeptical
Yes,
person.
yeah, you're skeptical,
And
but
so-
but again, don't like resist it. Just fucking put the hanger on and just see what happens. Okay. I was like, when I was talking about this, I knew Taylor would be the one where I was like, Taylor's just going to be the one that doesn't.
It's so funny. When
Nothing at all.
when Taylor first put it on, I thought I saw his head starting to turn, and then it looked like it just stayed perfectly straight. Did that feel weird?
No.
And he put it on again on the other side, and
I sort of feel it.
I feel like he's
I feel like
resisting.
I know. I
little bit.
feel like I can
almost
see his head moving
yeah.
towards me a little.
Yeah.
Like he went.
No,
like,
I know. No, so it's not. It's I'm not.
come up on the mic, bro. Jesus
It's
Christ.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have my headphones on. It's not like it's not
take it off,
immediate.
take it off. I'm
I
gonna
can
give it to Brad.
and I can tell exactly what it is too. It's not immediate, but I can
But you
feel
can
I can feel the desire to
Yes.
look that way.
It's interesting because I've noticed that so in the video, the person's head turned to the direction that the coat hanger hook is facing.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
enough
so
about that. So yeah. I
when
don't
you
know.
did it, Jared, your head turned that way. Taylor, you did it. And I noticed like it was almost like it was going to go one way.
Yeah.
And then you switched sides and then it was like almost going to go the other
And
way.
folks, I'm telling you right
So-
now, try this at home. Go grab
Okay,
go
I'm gonna do it.
grab a clothes hanger, like a wire one or a plastic one. Not a plastic one that has those weird fucking hooks to like hook other shit like pants and stuff.
I mean, it's very subtle.
Dude, it
Part
moves
of me
my
just
it moves
wants
my
to
head. No,
fucking
don't
crank my
No,
neck.
no, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm gonna try to.
Be serious.
to be honest about this. Is that a good spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I.
It's very. If
I don't know if I'm just like really wanting to like
If
turn
it's
my
happening,
head that way,
it's
or
Yeah,
very
let me see it
subtle.
again. Let me try it one
I
more time.
know.
It's because of the straight edge is right across your head, and there's a gap where the thing twists up into the coat hanger part.
Dude,
No, not that way.
It
That's
did.
the way you wanted to go.
No, it's not that I want it to go anywhere.
No, I
it's
know.
that it just literally makes my head turn that way.
No, it's definitely has to go in the direction that the can. Yeah, it has to
Yeah.
go that way.
See,
if you turn it
Fuck,
around,
that makes me feel so weird.
So the reason
that's
why
so interesting.
I agree that when I put it on, because there's something pressure against the side of your head,
yeah.
you don't like it, so you want to turn away from it or like move away from it.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
so so this is the thing. So I looked it up. The Wikipedia says the hanger reflex is a human reflex. It was first reported by J.E. Christensen on the 31st of August in 1991 in the scientific article New Testament of Spasmodic Torticollis in the medical journal The Lancet in connection with treatment for spasmodic torticollis. When the head is circled with a wire clothes hanger, the hanger compresses the frontal temporal region and the head involuntarily rotates. It is not clear what causes this action. The phenomenon gained attention on social media in mid-September 2020, becoming known as the hanger challenge when people posting videos of the reflection action. Now, there's a website that I went to like check this out a little further.
Should we clip this and put it on our TikTok now?
I mean, hey,
Do you think we'll go viral?
because
might-
I also don't think that I have the hammer reflex in my knee.
interesting. It seems too weird to be true, and I can't stop thinking about it. People on the internet are taking hangers, opening them up, and sandwiching their heads inside. Then their head turns to the side, seemingly without their control. There's no way this is real, I thought, as I got up to get a hanger from the closet and try it on myself. This is from inputmag.com, a culture magazine. But alas, upon squishing my head inside the clothes hanger, my head naturally turned to the side. Later, I tried it on my dad. Close your eyes and relax and put this hanger over your head, I told him, and sure enough, he slowly turned his head to the right. Turns out the so-called hanger reflex was reported in 1991 and in a 2015 study as well. Researchers studied 120 people between the ages of 19 and 65 and observed head rotation in 95.8% of the subjects. The effect is consistent in males and females and it's directional. You turn your head away from the hanger's hook. Researchers created a specialized machine,
Oh,
which wasn't a hanger, that presses on the frontal temporal region and recreates the hanger effect's involuntary motion.
then I'm just in the 4% then.
Yeah.
So it's not quite clear what proximate cause is turning the head. What's the physiological mechanism that recognizes the hanger-induced pressure change and produces the head turn?
Jared, can you play that video again?
Yeah,
I just want to see if they.
Yeah.
There's also little clarity on whether or not the hanger reflex confers a fitness advantage or serves a real purpose. It's hard to imagine human predecessors sticking hangers on each other's heads as they roam the savannas, But for all its mystery, the hanger reflex may be good for more than just entertainment. Researchers can develop simple tools to help patients with dystonia, a movement disorder that causes abnormal muscle contraction. Which I think dystonia might be what that Josh the Doodle has, that really cute that labradoodle that's
Oh
like
my
fucking
God.
like can't move, like can't run properly.
I fucking
Can you
love
play that
thing.
video again? I want to see because I feel like they were turning towards the hook. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They're faking.
The one
Watch.
on the right.
I don't think they're
definitely did.
faking it. I honestly, I think that it like because for me it's happened. I think it's happened both ways.
But they're saying in
this-
this study that it was supposed to be the other way.
Yeah.
It's supposed
Away
to
from
make
the
you
hook.
make you turn away from the hook.
yeah, maybe, but I mean, also this is some fucking yokel writing in a fucking magazine article.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
So we can't really believe anything.
But they're probably citing the study.
there's a whole video here of the head, like sort of like they're putting like electrodes on people's heads while they put the hanger on their head, and they made this crazy contraption that they put on the head to like to see why this does this.
I do also like, and it's hard for me now. I'm curious what would have happened if you had done it without telling us what was going to happen,
Yeah.
because I feel like in the same way that a hypnotist works.
Try it again,
like-
but close your eyes and relax.
Okay, here, you put it on my head. I'll close my head and see which way I feel, if I feel like I'm drawn to turn a certain way. This is a good study.
This is a good study, he says.
Yeah, very scientific.
Wait.
Okay, Jared's standing behind Brian. He's bending him. Oh,
No, it's not far enough down. I don't feel anything.
it's not far enough in. Is
If
that
I
what you
feel
said, Brian?
anything, it's turned to the right.
Turn it. How can you turn it to the right, but it's straight? He can't.
No.
No, Jared doesn't have a natural curve, so he can't go to the right when he goes further in.
I don't know what you're saying.
No, what are you saying, Taylor? Oh.
Are you talking about my
implying that
penis?
His penis was inside me.
My penis actually is super
Curved?
not curved,
You're dead as an arrow, dead straight.
dude. It looks like
I'm also
what's
dead-
that?
I'm
What's that
also dead straight.
monument in Washington?
The Washington Monument?
Is that what it's called?
I think
I
so.
think it is.
That's what my dick
That's
looks
it.
like.
Yeah, same.
It's very straight and
Yeah.
phallic.
Yeah. Do you
So
go straight out or do you go straight up?
straight up, like I would go right up into my nostril if
Yeah.
if I didn't move my head.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of sex, do you guys know what devotees are?
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about
We just chatted about it.
Yeah.
That is right. We did because we were speaking to a woman in Anchorage, Alaska, who has been in a wheelchair since she was 8 years old. And we were talking about dating, and what came up was sort of the fetishization of people in wheelchairs and people with disabilities. And there's a term for it. It's called devotees. This is an article from The Guardian about devotees and the secret world of people with a fetish for disabilities. And I thought this would be quite interesting. So a writer and accessibility consultant has delved into the underground world of those with fetishes for people with disabilities. Emily Yates, who uses a wheelchair due to her cerebral palsy, was first confronted with the idea of so-called, quote, devotees in 2011 when a friend commented that she was a pretty cripple under her photo on Facebook. Dude,
A friend of hers?
that's the word they use.
What year was it?
Pretty cripple.
I feel like cripple's been out
2011.
for a while.
Yeah. Miss
For
Yates,
a long while.
24, has since explored the scene in BBC Three's, quote, Meet the Devotees, the people turned on by disability. So this was a documentary that the BBC created about this. The writer is shown meeting both disabled people who film pornography as well as the devotees who watch it. This includes so-called, quote, bad devs who enjoy watching those with disabilities struggling with daily tasks.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Bad
That's
devs.
dark.
So
That
not,
is fucking dark.
So
Yeah.
not sexual. They're
Well, that's
Well,
maybe
sex-
sexual,
no,
sexual
no.
for the person
Yeah.
watching, but they're not getting turned on by
The sexualization of-
sexual things that people are doing.
They could be sitting in Starbucks drinking a coffee, look out the window, and see someone in a wheelchair without the
curb
side,
cuts.
curb cut,
No curb cut.
and just be rock hard
That
seeing them struggle to get
is
up on the
interesting.
sidewalk. That's interesting is one word. As part of the documentary, Miss Yates films herself moving from her wheelchair to her car to test the reactions of bad devs. The video was viewed over 4,000 times. Miss Yates also interviews devotees who cannot be sexually satisfied by able-bodied partners. Writing about her experiences on the BBC News website, she said she was, quote, shocked and, quote, hurt to be described as, quote, pretty cripple. I was even more offended when I later discovered that, to some, it was the biggest gesture of admiration he could have given me, she wrote. After an angry Facebook rant, I found myself being introduced to a community of people who are sexually aroused and attracted to disability, as friends pointed me towards some websites about people known as devotees. Miss Yates said she found the website exposed her to, quote, pretty dark stuff, but that she surprised, that's weirdly written, but that she surprised that she, quote, found it strangely refreshing at times to find a community where people would, quote, love and accept every little bit of me. That's kind of a fucking mental trip,
that's
right?
Like, that's what I was wondering about. Like, I was wondering when you started talking about this, I was like, I wonder if there's any part of it that like could be seen in a positive light, even though like that bad dev shit sounds so dark. And
well, I mean, just
awful.
like think about it. Like, think if you were like a part of a community of people that like inherently sees struggles in dating in general, whether that be like your own views about yourself and being self-conscious about whatever it is, being in a wheelchair, having to like, disclose that information when you're trying to do online dating or whatever, and just feeling like you're getting no luck, and then all of a sudden like you get fetishized by these people that are like totally turned on by the idea of you being in a wheelchair, that I could imagine would come with like two very polarizing thoughts. And I could imagine that. I can totally imagine that that you could feel like that's fucked and like I don't like that at all, period. And like that's it. But I can also see how it could be possible that you could hold those two thoughts simultaneously, where it's like, well, that's fucked, but also
no, not
feels
but
and also thank
that's
you.
what my therapist tells me all
and
the
also
time.
feels kind of nice, The freelance travel writer who is currently advising on inclusion in the 2016 Olympic and Paralympic Games also met a sex worker who broke her back and became reliant on a wheelchair. Leah Caprice shows Miss Yates one of her videos in the documentary. The footage depicts Miss Caprice revealing her bra to the camera while sat in a wheelchair before removing it from under her top. But she said that as she delved deeper, she became, quote, wary and concerned the attraction, quote, was more about vulnerability and power. And that's where it gets fucking dark. That's where it gets fucked up. One devotee she met named Gary told her he viewed leg braces and wheelchairs like other party dresses. He, quote, I think there's also a problem when you fetishize something that it can hamper you from having feelings for the full person, wrote Miss Yates. And like that, and that's the part that gets like fucky in your brain, where you're going, well, you're just like turned on by the chair, like it's not me.
And like and I think that you could sympathize with this in terms of CF, and somebody who's like who might be paralyzed and uses a wheelchair, for example, would probably feel this way as well, where they don't want to be defined by the thing. They don't want to be defined by their paralyzation, or you by your CF, or by their chair.
Right.
And then this and
imagine how fucked
they felt that they've been defined maybe negatively by that, and now all of a sudden they're defined positively by that same thing.
Like, imagine how fucked it would be,
but defined nonetheless.
Their sexual identity.
Imagine how fucked it would be if I was with a partner, and like, imagine how fucked it'd be if I was with Kira. My girlfriend.
She got real wet from your cough.
Yes, and she would get real wet from the wetter my cough, the wetter she gets, right?
Yeah.
And she's real turned on by like taking care of me when I'm sick and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I get trikafta.
Right.
And there is no more cough. And there is no more like I'm feeling sick. And she's like,
no more mommy duty.
Yeah, I'm no longer wet because of that.
Yeah. You're all dried up.
That would be fucked.
It's also, I mean, it's just great. Like the person compared like those mobility aids as to pretty dresses. So imagine somebody just liked you for your dress, and then you no longer wore that dress.
Well, that's the problem with
fuck you.
fetishization. It's just like it's less about the person at their core, and it's more about the.
And I feel like
thing
particularly because then there's just the same way that it's not unfair to be initially attracted to somebody for superficial reasons, and
Sure.
then to find out
That's dating apps.
that's that exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
we
you
do that
see,
every day.
You see somebody and you go, "Ooh, I like XYZ about that person."
Yeah.
And then you talk to them and you realize, "Oh, I actually like the person too." Wonderful combination. And you know, and so
Yeah.
obviously that could theoretically happen, but in this scenario, but the fetish part, I feel like, especially when you attach the word fetish, like it's such a strong word.
Yeah.
Like it's not just an attraction. It's like I don't know. Where would you like
It's
in
like,
your?
it's like a fucking primal.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's got hooks. Like
But that, I mean, that word though, primal,
Yeah.
because when I think of it, you know, you get like the like the classic sort of example of like you know, your mom left when you were a kid and walked out of your house and she was wearing a pair of like red heels and now you like to be stomped on by red heels or something like that. You know, like there's like those stories of like
It wouldn't happen
there
like
was-
that. Your mom would have to stomp
Yeah.
on your balls with red heels, and then you'd be
Whatever.
like, "Yeah,
but
that's what I'm talking about."
I was just looking for an example, but my point is that it's like oftentimes fetishes, if I'm right, are rooted in some sort of like past experience.
Yeah,
that
well,
then-
yeah. Fetishes and
and-
kinks are typically like they without even knowing it, they typically form in a person long before they're even like
conscious of
yes,
yeah.
long before they're matured human. Like
Yes, and so I'm curious.
at least
about,
that's
like,
what the research says, according to a number of people that we've spoken to on both podcasts.
And so I'm curious about fetishes in the sense that, like, if you are a person and you have a fetish towards something, you understand where that comes from and understand how that shows up in your life, and you're able to, like, you know, embrace it sexually, but also realize that it is just a part of your, like, you know, sexual being in that sense, and you're able to separate that with your own sense of identity and appreciate your partner for who they are, and not just like, because, like, you know, it could be something as simple as like you have a fetish for people like having sex with people with beards or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and then, but like, does that mean that you should not have a partner with a beard, or like only have partners with beards? Or
I mean, is it unfair to say, Jared, from your experience, that like people who have fetishes and kinks end up typically with other people with fetishes and kinks?
no, not
No?
often. No.
No?
I mean, not necessarily. No.
I would have
you know,
thought that would be that would be far more common.
Well, and
because
on
then you're
Turn Me On,
going-
you know, we've met a lot of people. So, you know, there was one person that we had on Turn Me On, and he had like a diaper fetish, and he was, and it was like, it was less about a sexual thing.
change my nappy.
I mean, yeah, kind of like he would wear diapers, he would use diapers, but it was more so tied to like an anxiety thing, based on like past trauma.
I was thinking of
and-
that when I because I listened to that episode.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that when I was.
And then he met his partner and hid it from her for like a fucking year. And then she kind of like found out, and they had to have a really tough conversation about what that means for him and what that means for her. And like at that point, like, you know, does she then get involved in that? Like if it makes her feel weird, like how does she fit into this now, knowing this thing? And so in situations like that, you know, it requires like a really hard and like honest conversation with your partner about what they're willing to do to like ensure that you feel like you're getting what you need. I mean, I don't know. It's not black and white. You know, it's all these, like,
but
everything. It's nuanced.
That's what I mean too, in the sense that, like, if you
I
know
feel
that
like
you
most
have a
things are just
fetish,
pretty black and white.
Yeah.
if you know that you have a fetish for something, like understanding that, like doing your best to do the work and understand, and usually with help from a professional or a third party, like exploring that with a therapist and figuring out like, where does that come from, or what does that mean to you, and like being able to understand that part of yourself,
Yeah.
and then, you know, being able to have your relationship and know what that means in your relationship without sort of mixing or blurring the lines together, I guess, in your own mind.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's really interesting it's really interesting from the psychological sense of, especially if it's rooted in something, because like you think of all the things that are present in most people, and how those past experiences manifest in the present in some type of behavior or whatever. But then and we might classify them as like, you know, just the way that you are
Mhm.
for a lot of things. But then in terms of like fetishes, it's like it's got its own very distinct box that like socially we you know, we package up and we have a very kind of like weird and stigmatized and taboo thoughts around how we classify that manifestation of a past experience that presents in such a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe we can get Emily Yates on the show to talk about this and talk about the work that she did with this documentary.
I love Feel Good Fridays because they're like discovery sessions for like future content.
Yeah.
We're gonna dig
Well, hey,
into.
it's a lot harder to fill those routine checkup episodes than it is our Monday episodes. I'll tell you that much. You know, we gotta reach out to people, whereas our Monday episodes, we've got thousands upon thousands of people that applied to be on the show. It's easy.
So if you are a professor, doctor, researcher, expert, let us know.
Or you know one that you think would be great for the show.
Let us
And if there's
know.
ever anything,
letters at sickboypodcast.com.
I mean, this is very unlikely, but if there's ever anything that we say that's wrong on the podcast, like super unlikely that we would do that. But if
almost never happens.
I mean, we would never would. But if we ever do, and you're an expert about something that we say that's, you know, wrong, like again, it probably won't happen, then just let us know, and then you can come on and tell us what would be right in that situation.
Yeah, and we'll tell you why you might be wrong about that.
Speaking of guests, do you guys remember Ethan Lipsitz?
Yes.
From LA?
Yeah.
From LA.
Good pal of ours. We did an episode with Ethan back in the day when we went down to LA and recorded a bunch of episodes. Ethan sent us a message.
Ethan paints cars and they look fucking sweet.
Oh, really?
He does a lot of really cool shit.
Yeah.
And one cool thing that he is doing right now is trying to kind of get a little bit of a conversation going surrounding our capacity for mortality. And he sent me this little quiz that he created online.
Our capacity to be able to die.
Our capacity to like handle the thoughts surrounding our death.
Okay.
Which is very much in line with a lot of the conversations that we've had on the show. So he sent this to me, and I asked him if it would be cool if we could talk about it on the show this week, which he gracefully said yes. And also I figured it would be fun to kind of take this quiz together. At first I thought maybe we would take it individually, but I feel like to get the most out of it, let's take it as a hive mind.
Okay. Sweet.
Okay. So the website, I'm going to leave the link of the site in the show notes of this episode. And feel free to go try it yourself. It really only takes about 45 seconds.
Do it with us right now.
Yeah, you can
But
do it
don't
with us
let
right
our answers influence yours.
So the link is in the show notes. You can go check it out right now and do it with us. It says, test your capacity for mortality. This short quiz will help you understand your current capacity to support others and yourself in facing death and mortality. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, you hear your high school best friend's mom just died. What do you do? A, nothing, nada, zilch. B, text them with a heartbreak emoji or a sad emoji or a skull and crossbones emoji or a shooting star emoji. I mean, I don't think it's like text them those things, but just like text them with some cute emojis. C, post your best pic of their mom on IG and tag them. D, send them a huge bouquet of flowers and a little card. Or C, call your friend and tell them that you're here for them.
To the last one.
I think I would, if you know, God forbid, if my friend Ryan's mom died tomorrow, I would, first thing I would do is call him.
Yeah. I think the thing that sticks out to me about that thing that pops out is the posting a photo on Instagram and tagging somebody. Like, I know that people feel differently, but I'm like,
I'd probably do that too. But I think the very first initial thing would be I would call Ryan and be like,
I feel like that can't happen before that. I mean, and that's my personal like kind of beef with social media in general is kind of like,
it's a passive.
It's kind of like, why are you doing that?
Yeah,
like, talk to the person.
Yeah.
But you think it stands out to you as something that is not helpful?
Yeah, because it's like,
sorry, I thought you were saying that's what you would do.
No. I'm saying like,
I actually strongly disagree with you on that.
I'm saying like, you're gonna post.
Yeah, I would definitely do that.
And the reason why is, I'll tell you why. Because so when I heard you say that, and I was thinking, why would that be a good thing? I was thinking, Oh, well, imagine a friend of yours, their mom dies, and they're not your best friend, but you care about them.
Well, high school
And-
best friend. That's
okay,
what we're
so
talking
high
about
school
here,
best friend.
right?
So I was thinking, like, if that person also has a ton of people just calling them nonstop, maybe they just need some time to grieve.
Yeah.
And so maybe doing something more passive, like sharing a positive memory that you have of them and their mom, maybe that is something that sort of gives them space, but lets them know at the same time that you're
Thinking of them.
them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's like when Brandon
Yeah.
died. Like that, I very much felt compelled to make a post about Brandon and share
And
that like I miss him. And
Yeah.
every anniversary of Brandon's death, I do the same thing.
me too, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also a way of letting other people know that, like, hey, this person is grieving, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just be conscientious.
But I
of that.
agree with you that it wouldn't be the only thing that I would do.
Yes, I agree.
Like
Yeah.
so like that's a secondary thing to me.
Call them would be number one.
Calling them is
Yeah.
the number one thing for me.
But I don't-
We all agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I don't have anything. I don't have beef against the social media post though.
All right, here's number 2. You're grieving the loss of a close friend 2 years after they've passed.
Hmm.
Brandon.
Yeah.
A, keep it to yourself and your secret journal. Nobody needs to know. B, talk about it with a friend or therapist and get it off your chest. C, share a video memorial on social media with pics and your favorite song.
The B, where like when Brandon's what was it, May 8th,
Mm.
I think, we were like, hey, it's Brandon died.
Yeah.
However many years ago today, 3 or 4 years ago today.
I did that and the social media thing.
Same, yeah, same.
Yeah.
But again, to me, it's
Yeah.
like talk about it.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
that'd
the
be my-
outlier because
thing-
like social media is just so
That'd
off
be-
my, it's so
like,
off my radar.
what is
This is so
the
funny
best-
because you
post-
handle our social media. That's
posting
great,
on
great
posting on
choice
so-
there.
posting
with
on
the
social
fucking-
media.
All right, I would say
I
I'll go with
see the
Yeah,
difference
B
between
is-
business
I'll go with
and
B.
personal.
Yeah.
all right. A close family member was just diagnosed with cancer. A, what do? A, get really upset and go inward to process your feelings. B, send medical resources and articles to support their care planning. C, send a card and flowers to let them know you're thinking of them. Or D, visit them in the hospital and just be there in the uncertainty of it all.
D.
D.
Yeah, probably D.
Same.
I
Yeah,
can't believe there's no answer that's like debate with your friends whether or not you're going to talk to them, and then have a film crew encourage you to go and have that conversation while the film crew records you.
Hashtag
Yeah.
Sick Boy the documentary.
Like,
you can watch it on YouTube right
I
now.
understand, like and the one about the sending like medical things. I think like depending on who the person is and
Yeah.
like what your relationship with that person is, that could also be like if you thought that would be something that they'd be into, you can also see how that would
Yeah.
be.
It's a family. It's a close family member is what they said there. 4, your partner gives you a book about end of life planning. What do? A, put it on the shelf and forget about it. Thanks, but no thanks. B, read it, but don't do anything. Cool story, bro. Or C, read it and fill out all the worksheets included, overachiever style.
I mean, what do I
Hold on.
really do, or what do I think is the right answer?
No. What do you really do?
I don't do anything overachiever style. What was the first one?
Just fucking throw it in the garbage,
That's right.
basically.
So the second one was read it.
Read it.
Yeah, I
Just
read it.
simply read it.
I would
B.
probably just read it.
I would probably just read it too.
Yeah.
5, how often do you think about your own mortality? A, never. I'm going to live forever. B, once in a while when I'm forced to confront it. C, regularly. Seems like death is always around the corner. Or D, constantly. Literally, it's the only thing I think about.
C.
C.
See, but I know that you looked at me when you said A.
Yeah.
Never. I'm never gonna die, and I'm more like C. I think about it fairly often, but also I'm still never gonna die.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6,
Science will prevail.
if you went to bed tonight knowing you would not wake up tomorrow, how would you feel? A, scared. I'm afraid of what will happen. B, sad. I have so much more to share and experience. C, neutral. It is what it is. Or D, peaceful. Life has been good and I have no regrets.
No regrets.
No regret. No regrets.
No regrets.
B for me.
B, you'd feel sad?
Yeah.
Tay? If you were going to go to bed tonight and you knew tomorrow was not going to be.
Yeah, I'd be sad.
I'd be D.
You'd be
I'd be like, all right, well, then this was a good life.
yeah. I mean,
I'm the one taking the test, so I'm going to choose D.
having a daughter definitely fucking fucks, because I probably would have said either C or D, like neutral or like, yeah, it's been great.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, the daughter.
I don't,
thing
and I
changes.
don't feel like, I mean, the challenge with answering these questions is that, like, I feel like it's probably a mix of both of those things. Like,
Oh yeah,
you
I
know,
definitely have a
and-
good cry, and like,
and
you know,
it's
it would
not
feel
that
sad that I don't get to like
I think I'd
see
feel
you
all
guys,
of those
like see you
things.
guys, but also I'd be like, all right, this is it.
all of the above.
Yeah, I think it's all of them. Yeah.
Well, according to our results here, your mortality capacity is high. You're fluent in death talk and seem to be quite comfortable with mortality. Congrats. That takes a lot of work.
It would be sad if we
failed?
totally bombed this.
if it was like, you need to see a therapist to talk about death.
I think we would, if that was the case, I think we would have to just close up the podcast and never
Yeah.
record again.
Yeah,
That's a really healthy thing for people to fill out and think about.
Yeah.
Though. Like those
Yeah.
are
They're
really
good
important
questions. Thank
questions.
you,
to-
Ethan.
Yeah.
The thing about that is great. The thing about quizzes though is how people lie,
Yes. Yeah.
and so many
Like how
people-
you lied during the psychopathy test.
Nope,
Yeah.
I didn't lie. I
Yeah.
was the least psychopath, wasn't
know.
I?
Yeah, but you
because
were
you
the most
lied.
Machiavellian, and Machiavellians lie.
Yeah, well, I didn't. And
I'm narcissistic, so I was just telling my truth.
I lost
I'm
my
a
train of
psychopath.
thought. What was
Yeah.
I talking about?
It doesn't matter.
About quizzes and people not being
yeah, but
honest.
like,
yeah.
and how often people answer quizzes, because I know that I've done this, thinking, or at least my initial thought is to answer the way that I think it should be answered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Instead
gotta-
of like really thinking about in your life, if
Even
you were in
though
that
it's
situation.
only me in the room and a computer.
I just got an email from Ethan.
What Power Ranger are you?
What'd he say?
Take this quirky quiz.
He said, "Wow, you're brave. That was pretty cool what you did back there. Taking a quiz to see about your capacity for engaging with death and mortality is kind of intense. I learned I have medium capacity. But you already know how important it is to get comfortable with mortality. There are so many ways we can deepen our experience of life through our exploration of death. We can read books, go to grief counselors, watch videos and movies, talk to friends, travel, meditate."
Or you can sign up for my course.
He said, "I dig this TED radio." Yeah. He said, "I dig this TED radio hour podcast called Rethinking Death." Wow, thanks, Ethan. Would have been cool if you included my TED talk in this, because it kind of has to do everything with that. Over the coming weeks, I'm going to be sharing some resources and thoughts on how we may deepen our consciousness and ease around dying and living with purpose. One big challenge I often face is how to support friends who's grieving. I found this brief article to be helpful in that regard. Hopefully it gives you some valuable new tools as well. With love, Ethan. And now I'm signed up for a newsletter, so I'm going to get a bunch of emails from Ethan, and that makes me happy. All right, let's move on to this week's edition of What the Hell? Dolphins recognize friends by tasting their piss, scientists find in wild experiment.
Dude, you don't have to look to dolphins for that shit. My dog does that every day.
Oh my God.
Man,
No,
I have to pull
truth-
my dog
Truth to
off
that.
patches of grass where
Oh,
a dog
yeah.
is just peed
Yeah.
because he's like just lapping it up. He's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, he licks it.
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
he
he licks
loves
it.
it.
He just
Oh,
goes
interesting.
hard.
Loki
licking it.
Loki just goes, pee,
And
I'm peeing on
You know
it.
what's funny? When
Yeah.
Rupert licks it, and then if I pull him away from it, his jaw is just chattering. Like he
Oh, wow.
like it was
Oh.
like the good
He's got
stuff.
a
and he's
fetish.
like, yeah, he
That's
does,
called water sports.
Yeah,
Something
he loves
happened
water sports.
when he
Uh,
was a child.
Scientists
I don't
have,
know anything about
yeah,
it.
I know what it was. It was It was fucking Loki covering him in piss.
You know what, dude?
Actually,
it could
yeah,
actually
yeah,
be
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's a strong
Oh
possibility.
my
Yeah,
God,
man.
that's really funny.
Scientists have discovered that bottlenose dolphins can recognize each other through their taste, specifically the taste of their pee-pee. Published this week in the Journal of Science Advances, the paper by researchers at Stephen F. Austin State University, Texas, and University of St. Andrews in Scotland found that dolphins can identify their individual dolphins through just through the taste of their pee.
Dolphins are so freaky.
They are fucking freaky, dude.
yeah.
The researchers discovered this while
They're
they
just
were
water
trying
humans.
to find out more about dolphins. Quote, signature whistles, the specific calls they developed to refer to themselves. Jason Bruck, one of the study's authors, explained to Motherboard, quote, dolphins essentially come up with their own name, but researchers didn't know whether these work the same way as human names. Quote, if I name your best friend, you'll picture them in your head, right? The scientists wanted to know if dolphins similarly recognize others' names. They tested this by matching the whistles to a different sense. A human will use the same word to describe something, say a mug, whether they see, hear, or feel it. That's what we're trying to get at, Bruck says. To do this, they needed to, quote, match and mismatch the whistle to a different sense as another way of identifying the animal. If another dolphin responded more to the match or the mismatch, it would show they knew which individual it belonged to. They briefly floated, no pun intended, the idea of waterproofing a high-definition TV screen to explore visual cues. Quote, but that would have been very, very heavy, very expensive, and very hard to move around, said Bruck. That's where the urine comes in. The scientists recalled anecdotes of dolphins swimming through excretion plumes. That's piss to you and me.
Is that what it says
Yes.
in the article?
Yes. That's piss to you and me. So the scientists recalled anecdotes of dolphins swimming through piss with their mouths open.
Well, that's the fucking, I mean, that happens. That's just, like, are they studying them in the ocean or are they studying them at fucking SeaWorld where they're just swimming through piss all the time anyway?
That's a
Guys,
good question.
SeaWorld is so cool.
I used to want to work there
Don't
so
you
bad
guys
when I was
love
like 8.
SeaWorld?
So dolphins can't smell because they don't have an olfactory bulb. So the researchers theorized that they must somehow use the taste of urine to gather information about its owner. After collecting samples from dolphins in lagoons in Bermuda and Hawaii,
Okay, good.
which had been trained to give urine for health assessments, they put the pee in, quote, a little cup at the end of a very long pole and poured it in front of a dolphin while playing the whistle of another dolphin. Researchers measured how long the dolphins, quote, sampled the piss, opening their mouths and running their tongue through the water. And if the dolphin's responses changed when the pee came from a familiar or unfamiliar dolphin. Dolphins kept their mouths open longer when encountering the urine of an individual that was familiar to them. When the urine sample also matched the correct signature whistle for the dolphin it came from, they hovered around the underwater speaker for longer than when the sound and the pee did not match. This
That's
told them that
fucking-
dolphins can recognize others through taste alone, something no other vertebrate has been shown to do. So that's kind of a big deal, says Bruck.
No, that's actually, they're like no other vertebrate other than humans, right?
Well,
Or excluding humans.
I wouldn't know your piss to your name.
Would you, if you
Or
walked in,
your fucking fart to your name.
if you were at an
know
Airbnb,
Or your
skin taste
no,
to your name.
no, listen.
You know sense.
Listen,
Well,
if-
you don't, Jer, but
If you no, you know this. If you walked into an Airbnb and there's 5 bedrooms and Taylor had slept in one the night before and you walked through each one of those doors with your tongue in the air, would you know which one Taylor was in?
Immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
That's my point,
You're right.
right?
But it's not because I can taste Taylor. It's just
You
that
taste the air
no,
from
no, no,
his.
no. It's just that I can tell because the windows are covered in condensation, and the ceiling has like droplets forming on it. And so,
Yes.
so it has nothing to do with the scent or the
Yeah, no,
taste.
no, no.
It
I
really
would
just has
taste that.
everything to do with the quality of the air, the thickness of the air. So, and I don't know, is that olfactory? I don't know.
I would taste that. That's something I would for sure taste.
Leela Say,
guys, it's not real.
Leela Say, a marine biologist at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, who was not involved in the study, told National Geographic that these findings open doors to other questions around what they might be learning from urine trials. There are lots of, quote, powerful avenues for future research, Bruck agreed.
Honestly,
More research is needed, so it sounded like he and the team may be pouring wee over dolphins for a while longer.
see, I really would have to see that happen in action to really believe it, because like it almost, to me, like I can almost imagine them doing it, and it's just like hard to believe that they would be really getting the reactions that they're looking for. And like, I mean, just that fact about training the dolphins in the lagoon to give urine samples to monitor their overall health.
I mean, dolphins are like real easy.
Dude,
I mean,
dolphins are
I shouldn't say easy to
smart
train,
as
but like, yeah,
fuck.
they're like they're receptive as fuck to
Yeah.
training.
super smart. But like, how do you, like, in the wild, you're getting them to come in and give their urine
Yeah.
samples? Like,
Yeah.
that's why we need to have them in SeaWorld.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why we need
easier.
to. That's why we need to round them up.
yeah.
just kidding.
put him
obviously.
in a very small space.
Well, folks, hope you
Sad.
enjoyed that. Very fun conversation all about pee and wee wee. And
Is SeaWorld still a place?
yes, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Unfortunately, yeah.
How?
I don't know.
Money,
Who would pay to go there, though?
dude. Like fucking our parents who just don't fucking get it.
Yeah, I
man.
think
You know,
it's a
like
product of a-
dumb parents. That's who.
Yeah, because I think,
And God knows there's a
There's a-
fuckload of dumb parents in the U.S.
but there's a lot
and
of
Canada and everywhere in the
but
world.
there is I don't think a day goes by where there's not like protests at SeaWorld. I think there's like 365 protests
Yeah,
there.
yeah. There should be.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thanks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the podcast. You can leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, or you can just leave a little rating on the Spotify mobile app if you listen there. And if you want to support the podcast further, why don't you hop on over to our Discord? The link to our Discord, which is where we're having wonderful conversations with hundreds of our listeners, and the conversations are popping off every day. You can find that link in the show notes to pretty much every episode. So we'd love to see you over there and have a little chit chat. And just thanks for listening. Tell everyone you know that you listen to the show.
Tell everyone, or just one person,
That works too.
and
That'd
then
be
like
great.
a pay it forward type deal.
Yep,
you know,
yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
everyone would be better, but
yeah.
one's
But like we won't be mad if it's
Yeah.
just one. And if you want to let us know about something that we said that's horribly wrong, something that we said that's interesting, that you have some more context to give to it, you can do that by sending us a letter at letters@sickboypodcast.com. Or if you want to be a guest on the show, you can go to sickboypodcast.com/contact and you can fill out the form.
Thank you so much to the people who make this show happen. A huge loving shout out to Rich Aucoin, who does the incredible theme music for this episode. And also, Rich just launched an Indiegogo campaign
Yo.
for his new album that is coming out
I still need
in
to
like
scoop that out.
5 or 6 months.
Coming
But
out in
if you-
October.
If you sign up for his Indiegogo campaign right now, you can get a digital copy of that album today. And
Got mine a few days ago, and
and it's
it's
fucking banging.
non-stop fucking playing.
And I don't know if you guys know,
it's sick.
if everybody knows this, but like Rich Aucoin is
Kind
like,
of a big deal.
kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
He is. He's an
Like,
amazing.
Like if you're listening to the
amazing artist.
show, it's like it kind of just so happens that just because he's from Halifax and we are of sort of the same age, we ended up being friends with him. But he is like a fucking
Yeah.
like
he's amazing.
he's like a legendary Canadian musician. at
and
this point.
and like probably one of the best, if not the best, live performers I've ever seen in my entire life.
For me, the best.
Yeah. And so anyway, thanks, Rich, for the amazing theme music. We love you, obviously. We'll check the link to his Indiegogo campaign in the show notes as well. And also a huge shout out to Jeff Lonis. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thanks, Jeff. We love you too.
That is it for this week.
I'm Brian.
I'm Taylor.
And I am Jeremy, and this is